Forestry made its way into the game in 2023 and it completely changed how you do woodcutting. Today I wanna go over it, explain the mechanics and the requirements for it. Keep in mind this is a basic guide, not an in-depth one. To be eligible to earn the rewards from the random events, you need to get a forestry kit. You can get it for free from the friendly forester in Thrahaearn. You also need a soft level of 15 woodcutting since the changes were not applied to normal trees and that's the earliest tree you can get where the changes were applied. Other trees might have different requirements depending on their level or place, but they are not needed for you to engage with forestry, so level 15 is kind of the minimum requirement. And lastly, the woodcutting plugin on RuneLite can actually be very useful. Not only will it show the respawn time of the trees, but will also aid with the random event indicators. It comes on by default, so just check if it's active, as I highly recommend using it. Before we get into the random events, we need to understand what changes Forestry brought to woodcutting. These are core changes, meaning they will behave like this regardless if you want to engage with Forestry or not. First up, we have the woodcutting boost. For every player cutting the same tree, you will get a +1 boost to your woodcutting level. This boost works much the same way that the woodcutting guild boost works, meaning your woodcutting level will be higher for the resource chance, but you won't be able to actually cut trees higher than your level. This boost has a max cap of 10, so 10 players is the amount of players they actually need to achieve the maximum boost. And the boost isn't applied to the woodcutting guilds, the trees that are grown with farming, or any single log tree, so normal trees, death trees and so on. The second core change is relating to tree depletion. With forestry, trees will now be on an average despawn timer as opposed to having a chance to be cut when someone rolls a successful log gather, meaning more players won't make a tree despawn faster. Lastly, the events. They have a chance to spawn every time you get a log. The event you get is completely random and they will only spawn if you have the forestry kit with you. You will have to have been cutting a tree in the area that the event spawns in the past 3 minutes in order to be eligible to get the rewards from the event. Generally speaking, the more trees there are and the more players there are, the more events you can spawn per hour. There's some caveats to this, but this is just like the general gist of it. For the most part, you will be seeing anywhere between 3 to 7 events per hour. On average, you can have more, you can honestly sometimes have less. Some can actually happen like just back to back pretty much, while sometimes you can legitimately go 20 minutes without seeing one. Don't worry, the events didn't break. I have gone through this before, I have checked why am I on the right world, why I have the right items. Yeah, no, sometimes the events just take really a long time to spawn. It's all RNG. And also there are certain strategies to try and maximize the random events and NMO bark that you get, but honestly my advice is to just stick with whatever woodcutting grind you need. For example, if you need thick logs for your construction grind, I recommend just doing thick trees and just let the events come passively. Don't worry too much about them. Since forestry requires other people, here are worlds and places people will commonly be woodcutting at, so you can actually, make use of forestry. First up we have the worlds. You have 6 worlds designated for forestry, 4 are members and 2 are free to play, 388, 398, 434, 444, 487 and 510. Personally, I recommend either 444 or 510. 444 can be rough on ping if you are not American, but you are doing woodcutting, so no big deal, and this is like the main world people usually do forestry at. You don't need to be in these worlds to do forestry, it's just that these worlds are usually the worlds people opt to in order to, do forestry. But as long as there's other players, you can do forestry in any world. Then we have the places. Again, these are just recommendations. As long as there are multiple people in an area, you can do forestry. First up, we have Thriftiness. It's a bit of a late game, but you have magic tree spots, stick tree spots, and yew tree spots, all of which have banks relatively nearby. Then we have Drainer, which is a classic one. You pretty much only have willow trees and oak trees, but it's always populated and it's incredibly close to a bank. Myth's Guild is great for magic trees, which is also super close to a bank upstairs. Valormore has added some great spots for pretty much every tree, including magic trees, yew trees, even willow trees or oak trees. Sears Village is another classic. You have magic trees next to the sorceress towers, yew trees in the church, and next to the flax fields, willow trees and maple trees across the bank, and well, all of it, you have a bank nearby. These are the most common spots, but again, there's many out there. As long as there's players getting trees, it's a forestry spot. Finally, we reach the events themselves. They are fairly simple to complete, although some can be a little bit confusing at the beginning, so let me guide you through them. Again, I highly recommend having the woodcutting plugin active. It makes all the events that much easier. First up, we have Roots. This is one of the easiest events. Roots will spawn on the ground and you just have to click on them to cut them. One of them will have this bluish vein thing, and those will actually give extra XP and bark. These roots despawn fairly fast and respawn somewhere else. The roots will eventually stop spawning once the event ends. Then we have the Struggling Sapling. This event spawns after a tree has been cut. You have 5 piles on the ground with different colors. These are different ingredients that you need to find which combination is the best to give to the sapling. Each combination requires 3 different ingredients, and you essentially can actually repeat them, and the order also matters. So meaning essentially, for example, getting the leaves first actually gives you a different score than getting them on second or on third place. So basically the objective is to find out which combination of the 5 ingredients grants you 100% nutritional value. There's only 3 of them, but there's 5 ingredients to choose from, so there's usually 2 ingredients that are not used. After you find out which nutritional score is 100 and which order and which ingredients in which order give you 100, you just keep gathering the same one and essentially feed it to the sapling. The event is completed once the green bar is full or once the blue bar runs out. The green bar is the HP of the sapling, and filling it will successfully complete the event. The blue bar running out is the timer, and it will fail the event if it runs out. You should actually pay attention to the chat or other players, as the combo that you need to do in which order is actually the same for everyone. So some people actually type in the chat the initials of the combo, so you can just do that. Flower bushes. This event will spawn 8 bushes of different colors. You have to see which bush needs pollinated and which has the pollen. It might seem hard, but you just want to click on them all until you find the 2 that, you can just click back and forth to actually pollinate it. It sounds kind of complicated, but it's kind of easy actually. Also, as far as I know, the bushes are the same for everyone, so again, just pay attention to other players and just do what they do. The Leprechaun. This event spawns a leprechaun that you can store your logs with for free. Not that useful given that most locations are near banks, but it's still nice. However, this event also spawns rainbows periodically for a total of 6, I think, that you can actually stand on. So if you stand on them for a few seconds, you gain a stack. This stack will be consumed for every log you get, but you will actually get extra with getting XP and anima bark while those stacks are active. Beehives. A beekeeper will spawn a beehive that you need to build using your logs. You will spawn a total of 6. For every log donated, you get with getting XP and construction XP as well as anima bark, and the amount will depend on the quality of the log that you provide. Entlings. 5 entlings will spawn with text above their heads. You can prune them, and the pruning will actually depend on what the text is above their heads, as you have 3 options to prune them. Essentially, you'll have to prune them multiple times until an entling is satisfied, and you have to do this for all 5 entlings. The rewards are based on the number of prunes you did and how many entlings are satisfied, so it's better to usually just focus on one entling at a time until that one is satisfied and then move on to the next one. As for for the type of prune, usually you want to either focus on the top or the back. They have 4 texts, so if they say breezy at the back, you prune the back. If they say a leafy mallet, you actually prune the top, and only then do you prune the sides. If they say short back and sides, you prune the back and then sides. And if they say short on top, you prune the top. Usually, again, focus on the top or the back, and that usually works. So yes, the endlings will despawn after they are all satisfied or until enough time has passed. Poachers. There will be poachers that are around setting traps. All you need to do is click on the traps to disable them so the fox doesn't get trapped. They will keep setting new traps until they've done enough of them, and you just need to keep disabling them. Ritual. Circles of different colors and shape will appear on the ground. Your objective is to stand on the odd one out. The Dryad will repeat this for 8 times, and each time you are standing on the correct one you will get Woodcutting XP and Anima Bark. The way you spot the odd one out is by seeing which one doesn't have a sphere or a color that matches the others. So basically there will be one that shape or the color doesn't have a pair. Or you can just honestly follow the other players, because if a lot of players are standing on one, usually they're correct, so yeah, you don't even need to actually look out, you just look out where the players are going. And lastly, we have the pheasants. This event will spawn nests with pheasant eggs. Your goal is to get eggs from the nests and end them to the forester. Usually there is a nest that doesn't have a pheasant, and that is the nest you want to go to. These nests change periodically, and if you try and get an egg from a nest with a pheasant, you'll get stunned. So you just search for the one that doesn't, get the egg, give it to the forester, and you just repeat that action a bunch until you can no longer do it and search for the next nest without the pheasant. And those are pretty much all the events. Yeah, I know, some of them are like simple while others are a little bit more involved, but honestly all of them are simple enough once you understand what you're doing. Generally speaking, rule of thumb, just follow whatever other players are doing. It usually worked for me when I didn't know how to do the events, and you know, like for the most part I was able to understand like 6 out of the 8 events, so that's pretty easy. And yeah, they're not that hard, and honestly with the Runelight plugin you really shouldn't even have any issues at the end of the day, because the Runelight plugin just kind of tells you everything you need to do anyway, as long as you especially click on things. It's incredibly helpful, so yeah, that's pretty much it. While there are other things I could cover, these are basically the, well, basics for Forestry. You know, it's not an in-depth guide, and you know, I hope that despite that, you know, you can still understand how to like participate in the events and earn the rewards and everything, and buy whatever you need from the shop. So yeah, that's my simple or basic, I guess, Forestry guide. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.